How we doing, you beautiful people? Kenshi here, bringing you episode 20 of Rise of the Holy Nation. The last couple episodes we have been stuck fighting the tech hunters up in World's End, but we now have a plan to get out. We've managed to beat down their numbers, we're getting almost everyone sprung from the jail, and then it will be time to retreat back out of the base. There still are quite a few tech hunters left. We have managed to beat most of them down, so the ones that are up and fighting don't have too much health left, and we've managed to steal quite a lot of weapons off them. We are still looking for some of the weapons that they took from us, but we nearly have all of our weapons back, which is pretty good. We've also been taking their medikits, so once they get back up, they cannot heal themselves and carry on fighting, or heal the other people so they can get up and carry on fighting, which is putting us in a pretty good situation. But one of the things that we are looking for is there is a Hive Prince running around in World's End who has a Me-Too weapon, which we are looking to get our hands on. Pretty much uneventful from the prison to the main gate, and all we're going to do is we are going to run out and try to get the adventurers squad out. And what we'll do is we'll use Peter and Gnu to go in, try to fight any of the tech hunters chasing us, and possibly take out the turret or two, because we will be going back in because we want that Me-Too weapon. Left wall only has minimal resistance now. Peter is seeing to them quite nicely. We do have Gnu coming in. Gnu is going to come in and then go to the right wall. On the walls, it is mainly the trade ninjas. Trade ninjas are not nearly as dangerous as tech hunters. They're not as well trained, they're not as well equipped, they're not as well armoured or armed. So it's going to put us in a pretty good situation to take them down nice and quick. Also, once the turrets are out of the way, we will let Dexter get back into the fight. Turrets absolutely mess them up because of the bleed damage, and the weapons that most of the tech hunters and the trade ninjas have do seem to be cutting and bleed damage, which causes a fair bit of problems for the big boy. But if we can have him in the fight and he is protected by other fighters, that means he's not going to be getting hit as much, but he's still going to be able to kick out all of that sweet DPS that he is able to do. But at the moment, it does look like we have the bottom of the town secured again. So hopefully a bunch more tech hunters and trade ninjas don't just show up out of nowhere. So seeing as we look like we're in a good situation, we are going to pull back for a bit, regroup, heal up, and then go back in and cause a whole bunch more damage. Adventurer squad is pretty much out of the town, but we do have a couple stragglers and some people following them. So they are just supporting each other to cover the retreat. But what we do have is Peter and Gnu back into World's End, because we are going to hunt down that Me-Too weapon. And look who we have finally found. That didn't take as long as I thought, but took a little bit longer than it should have. Plan's going to be pretty simple. We're going to try and take him from two different angles, because his attack arc is pretty dangerous and can hit pretty much everything in front of him. So long as we're attacking from two angles, it's harder for him to defend, and he won't be able to get those very beautiful cleaves off. And once we get that weapon, we will be handing it across to Gnu. I do believe it to be a katana class weapon, even though it's a strange looking katana, but details I am not one to judge. But it's a Me-Too, so naturally it's going to be pretty tasty and very useful going on to Gnu. And also kind of looks like an axe, and Gnu likes axes, so who am I to argue? Even though he is a stinking bugman, we're going to have to treat him with a little bit of respect, because he has managed to take down Peter and Gnu. Well, they've taken him down this time, but the other times it was in his favour. But that is pretty much because Gnu and Peter had fought for a whole town, and then he finally decided to show up and knock him down when they were pretty much out the fight. So we now have our revenge. So it's a hard hacking. And yeah, that has some pretty respectable stats. And a Bender katana is going to have a very fast attack speed, and it's also a two-handed katana, so it takes up both bars, which means that it's going to have a very nice cleave on it, which we have seen so far. The rest of his kit we're not really interested in. Some of it is masterwork, but is it worth the wait? And compared to what we can produce, no, not really. If we wanted heart protectors, we'd be making them. We're not. We're building like actual armor instead of some things that some bandits gobbled together. But it looks like we are pretty much done in World's End. We'll head back out, we'll take down the last of the tech hunters that follow us, and then away we go. We'll have a little check in the armory, but I'm not expecting there to be much. Sweet all in the armory, as to be expected. We done a pretty decent job last time of looting it, so no worries on that side for us. And it is pretty much just Peter and Gnu getting out. We do have a couple guys knocked out front of the town, but yet again, we do have our rendezvous point, so we can just pick people up, drop them off there, heal them up, and then we can either head down to Ballista Hill, because that's fairly close by, and heal up, or if we have enough people mobile, we can just pick everyone up and just run back to the base, so we don't need to worry about too much micromanaging, because everyone will get put to the beds, and it means if anyone comes and attacks us, we are going to be sorted. and you should not be heading this way. Lovely misclick on my part. Send them back to the base and we carry on. Unfortunately, a couple of the adventurer squad did aggro back into the town, got knocked out and were arrested, but everyone else is now on hold and passive and ideally set to where we want everyone to meet up. We'll send Peter and GNU back in. This will just be a snatch and grab job. If this turns into a long encounter again, we are just going to bail and leave them and come back for them another time, because we have spent far too much time up in World's End. In the time that we're up World's End, we are not killing off the Shek and killing off the dirty Narkos, which is our main priority. A bunch of tech hunters at the moment, not a massive concern for us at the Holy Nation, but what is our concern is those dirty heretical Shek that need to be taken down quickly and swiftly. And also GNU's new katana is a absolute beast. Peter has just got the first one out, so we only have one more to go and get, and then we are free to disengage. Not gonna lie, might have forgotten about midnight. Peter is now back in the prison to try and get the last of the adventurer squad out. Here he comes with the last one, and once he is back with the group, it is time to head back to main base. Slight oversight with the food part. Did not expect this fight to go on this long, so we did not prep nearly enough food for this. Slight issue that we're running into is that Greenlanders cannot eat raw meat. Juggernauts and Scorchlanders can, which isn't an issue, but everyone else is now starting to starve, which means they're going to move super slowly. So we just have to hope that they can get back before the malnutrition kicks in, and then it starts messing up their strength, which will then mess up their athletics, and they go super slowly. Thankfully, we are pretty much into the Holy Nation territory, and the Holy Nation, being our allies, are jumping in to give us a hand, which, funnily enough, is super useful, seeing as we are starting to already get split up and spread out. Not a massive issue. There isn't too much around here that we need to worry about. Bone dogs can be an issue because they can eat us. Though you don't really get skimmers in these parts. You get starving bandits and hungry bandits and dust bandits. But then again, not a super massive threat to us. But being down in Oakland's Pride, we are largely safe. The only thing down there is river raptors, and they are pretty easy to take down so long as you're not the guys in the first two episodes when they all just got chomped. But details, that is in the past and we have moved on. Only real drawback that Juggernauts do have is the amount that they eat, and they eat a crazy amount. GNU has already hit malnutrition and is starting to take all of the knocks to the stats that come with it, and she ate just before she started coming down from the World's End, because we went and killed a bunch of antelopes and then we carved them up for the meat, so the Juggernauts could eat, the Scorchlanders can eat. The only people that didn't get fed were the Greenlanders, but the Greenlanders are making their way down and they're not in too much of a bad situation. But the Juggernauts, on the other hand, eat such a crazy amount that even though they ate before they set off, they're already starting to go into the realm of malnutrition, which is a super bad situation to be in, because that means you go slower. The slower you go, obviously the longer it takes you to get to the food. So we're going to need to run a little supply caravan out to GNU to keep her going. Dexter and a couple of the others are just outside of Bad Tooth right now, in the little alley that leads down into the back of the town. So what we'll do is we'll have Dexter around here just keeping an eye out. All of our guys need to come through this part anyway, so having a little doggo here to protect them is going to be pretty good. And also, anyone that wants to attack the Holy Nation will then have to fight an Orion Crocodile, which is always a pretty terrifying proposition to overcome, because they're Orion Crocodiles and they are ferocious. But it's looking like most of the fighting's outside of the town, so we don't need to worry too much about that, and it's mainly starving bandits. So I think what we'll actually do is we'll carry on Dexter back to the base, just so he can eat out. We'll sort a couple things out, and then we can always send an detachment down if Bad Teeth needs defending. We have the mercenary bassinet in full production at the moment, and it is a very respectable bit of kit. It offers 100% head coverage, some very good cut and blunt resist, and the only negatives to it are 2 perception and crossbow effect, and they're not even that much of a drawback. So across the board, a very good bit of kit for us. We are going to be sending Peter out to go and recover GNU. GNU is not in a good state at the moment, is going super slow, nearly starving to death and going in and out of consciousness. Midnight is still with GNU, so GNU at least has a little bit of protection until Peter can get over, but Peter should be there pretty soon. There's a couple of our other guys that are starting to straggle and fall behind, but we've got the stronger ones picking up the weaker ones. We've also sent other people out to try and bring them back in as well. So this has turned into what I'd probably say is a rout. That was a very bad withdrawal on our part. But it is looking like we can stabilise. We haven't lost anyone, we haven't lost any weapons, and we haven't really lost too much time. So we're going to go around, pick everyone up, get everyone in a good situation, head back to the base, re-gear up, and then we are going to go and smash the shit. Peter is now with Gnu and Midnight, so he's just going to need to pick Gnu up, start heading back to the base. We'll take Midnight with us as well. I mean, I do like bone dogs in this game, but as soon as you get an Orion Crocodile, bone dogs kind of become pointless. I guess they're more companions at the moment. What they are good for is just making sure you guys don't get eaten, and that is not really a good excuse to have something in this game. Just be like, well, if I have it, the things around it won't get eaten. Be like, yeah, no, that's not really the investment you want to put into a dog to train it up, feed it, get it equipped and buy it, if all it's going to do is possibly stop one of you guys from getting eaten. Not really worth the time. Orion Crocodile, on the other hand, is something that can literally solo armies, incredibly overpowered and broken, a little bit more worthwhile. But yeah, we're starting to split everyone up, and we are starting to look like we are going to be able to take on the Shek real soon. We've got the helmets. The only thing that we're missing is some leg armor, but what I am thinking is we will swap across onto samurai cloth pants. Not that they're going to be great, but they're going to be better than what we have, and especially when they're like specialist and masterwork, they can start kicking out protection at about 20 to 25% cut damage, which isn't too bad, and about the same for blunt, which isn't going to keep us alive, but it is going to be better than having the armor that we have at the moment. Lyric has just been ambushed right in the spot where we said that we would leave Dexter, so this didn't happen. Not the most annoying thing, but a slight setback, and will take a little bit longer to get everyone back to the base. We do have Peter and Dexter coming over just to help clear up these hungry bandits. Also, it's good training for everyone, and it means they're not going to start running into Bad Teeth, because we need that Holy Nation town still alive and kicking. So once they're over, this is all cleared, we all head back to the base, all gear up, all get fed, all get rested, and then we are going to go and start picking a fight with the Shek. Starting to run low on power, so we are going to put in about 7 more small wind generators. This will mean our forges can keep going, our armor smiths can still keep hammering out the armor, our weaponsmiths keep making the finest items of war that our colony can produce, and then we should be pretty sweet and not have to worry about power. Is basically long and short of it. The war party is now formed, everyone has rested up, so we're rocking pretty much full HP. We went round and gave everyone back their weapons, the ones that the tech hunters took, so everyone is now armed very, very well. We also have everyone is now rocking specialist or masterwork class armor, so really good weapons, really good armor, everyone's got food on them, and everyone has medical supplies as well. We are going to be heading down towards the hub. There is the rebel base there, which is the bar. We're going to go wipe that out to start with, go into the hub, take out the Holy Nation outlaws, because, well, the Holy Nation outlaws, so therefore they need to be exterminated. And then there is the tower, Narkos tower, which we will want to take down because the agents of Narco run out of there, and they are some pretty tough guys, and one of the guys has a insane bounty for 250,000. They call them the Collector, and that is definitely going to help us get a whole bunch more recruits, and we can just start getting the killing. And then once the path is open, running down into Shek territory so we can go and attack Squin, it's going to be nice and easy. Any room at the inn, boys? If not, no worries, we'll make ourselves at home. There aren't too many of them here. There's a couple trade ninjas which are going to be nice and easy to take down. Main priority is we want to kill off the barman. We'll take out the ninja guards, not that they're going to be much of an issue. And then from here we'll just head up to the hub. Once we can take the hub out, we are in a pretty good situation, because once the hub's cleared we can take out the tower, then with the tower we can take all the bounties, and one of them, like we said earlier, is worth 250,000 cats, which is an insane amount of cats just for like one thing. So that is going to be pretty sweet. That's going to sort us pretty nicely, and if someone's got that sort of cats on them, I am expecting them to have a mean old weapon on them. It seems our reputation precedes us. That is pretty cool, and yes, rightly fear us, because you're all going to die today. So nice and easy plan. We run in, stab them as many times as we can, secure the gate, and then work through the town piecemeal. Pretty much the same strategy for taking every town that we run, and it is take the gate and you take the town. There is a traitorous blade dancer here who we are going to take down, has a decent bounty on them. Not that we can even trade the bounty in because of who the bounty belongs to, but it is going to be fun to take down. See what Dexter can do. Mind you, running Dexter up against a katana class weapon isn't the greatest of ideas, but yeah, literally just one nom and they're down. Not so terrifying, but hopefully they'll have some decent kit. But now we're in the town, the gate is secure, we can just go in and start taking them down. Because I find when you go into the town and you hold the gate first, when they start coming in, they come in piecemeal. Then once your guys start pushing into the town, they end up taking the fights, but most of the fights are like 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 or 4-on-1 because everyone else is spread out throughout the town. Main issue we run into is normally when we pick a fight, we're outnumbered, and having the extra attack slots in causes us issues. But if we hold the gate and they start coming towards us, as you can see, when we're fighting multiple against them instead of multiple against us. And we are just carving through. Not really that the hub's much of a bragging point, as it is like the start of town. But there are some pretty decent stuff in there, especially with the Age of Blood and Sand mod pack. If we keep an eye out for the Holy Nation Undertakers, well, the Outlaw Undertakers, they do have some pretty decent weapons for early on. So if you can keep an eye out, see one of them go down, you are going to be in a nice situation. The hub fell surprisingly quickly. We weren't expecting it to last like World's End, but I wasn't expecting us to go in and just hack up a few people and it would be over. So that is particularly good for us. That means we're not going to get tar pitted here, which means we're going to be able to move on with the next objective. What we do need to do is, whilst we are in the hub, is we are going to need to pay a visit to the Shinobi Thieves. Not a massive fan of those guys, so if we can go in, wipe them out as well, so everything in the hub is gone. Cornered, trapped, and their backs against the wall. The Shinobi Thieves are about to get wiped out of the hub. I would call it a valiant last stand, but it's not. They are not going to put up much of a fight. They don't have particularly good armor, they don't have good weapons, they don't have good stats, and they are just going to melt against our katanas. Which is pretty good, because now they're going to be out of the way. Not that we can really do too much with them. They don't have great loot. Some of the stuff in the tower we don't have the lock picking to open anyway, but where we are going after this, they do have very good loot, they do have very good bounties, and it is going to be worthwhile. So we are going to keep our inventories largely freed up, so we are going to be able to take more of the sweet loot instead of taking this mediocre stuff from the Shinobi Thieves. And all we need to do is head down to the second tower, and then we are on our way. Now we're on the way to take down the Narkos tower, one of the last thorns in the side of the Holy Nation in the border zone. Once we take this down, we are soon to be unstoppable, terrifying and killing machines. But with this, I need to bring the episode to an end, so thank you very much for watching episode 20 of Rise of the Holy Nation. I have been Konzi. All your likes, comments, sub support have been amazing. You guys are awesome, and I'll catch you on the next one.